Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. My name is Caroline Heward and I'm today's host and starring in this show. Our show today is Talking Heads and I'm an expert presenter in today's topic, which is part of the Mind and Body Connection series. Our topic today is going to be a very fascinating one. It's a deep one and I invite you to be openly, consciously aware. Our topic today is the unconscious effect, how hidden behaviours shape team dynamics. So let's begin. Have you ever been part of a team that you've noticed somebody's hidden skills, something that you didn't appreciate that's what they did, but it came out in an outcome of their work? Or have you noticed in a team that you've been part of that you have noticed somebody's hidden challenges, that you've noticed they've struggled with something that you didn't think they would struggle? And this is a question for you to think about. Now, if you hear some loud bangs during this presentation, it is because it is bonfire night in the UK and there are lots of loud bangs, and I'm consciously aware that there are loud bangs going on. So if they interfere and you hear some loud bangs, I'm not being shot at, it is fireworks because it is our celebratory Guy Fawkes night, bonfire night. Okay, so looking at today, we're exploring consciousness and unconscious behaviours and the dynamics within teams and individuals when they show and align with teams and their goals and expectations. So this is quite a deep and meaty one, and I want to explore some things that maybe you might not be consciously aware of. So we're going to look at understanding unconscious competence and conscious competence. Let me say that again. We're going to explore understanding unconscious competence and conscious competence. So what's the difference between being consciously aware of something and being skilled unconsciously? Let me share with you that there's a difference. If you are consciously aware, you will be aware of each step and each thing that you do, which means that you will be much more akin and prone to be consciously aware to adapt when something changes. If you are unconsciously aware, what happens is that you will be very aware of what you're doing and be skilled at what you're doing, but you won't probably be consciously aware of the steps that you're taking. So that means that it could be very difficult to train someone else at what you do. And also it will be not so easy to adapt to change. Or you might be a bit thrown when there's a change where you have to change what you're doing, because you're almost doing it on autopilot. And when there is a need or a requirement for adaptability, because you're doing it unconsciously, you might not be triggered by what you need to change. So let's look at reality of expectations. And my question to you is, when team members fail to meet or exceed expectations, what could it be related to? It could be a lack of skill within the given area that they've been asked to demonstrate or perform a skill or a team activity. It could be that there are hidden factors. It might be that there's something going on in their personal life. It might be that there is a sickness in the family, or they might have had a bereavement, or it might be they're having problems with their finances at home. There might be some challenges within the family or with their children, or there might be some challenges with their home situation or their personal life, their relationship. And they bring that to work. Now, the thing is, when they bring it to work, you can't separate the person from the activity, the behaviours. The person comes with everything because they're human. They're a human being. They're not a machine. And they come with all the foibles and all the experiences that's going on in their lives. So there might be some hidden factors in their personal life, and there also might be some hidden factors in their professional life. And let's look at some of the hidden factors in their professional life. It might be that they're coming forward to do a task and saying yes, 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 but they may lack the skills to do that task and afraid, I'm going to say that again, that they're afraid to admit or to say they're uncomfortable with the expectation or they can't deliver. Because this person that is afraid to say, and fear is a huge thing for many people because they don't want to disappoint or let people down. Fear can allay somebody from expressing their truth. So they don't want to let you down. At the same time, they will be letting you down by not letting you know that they can't perform or can't do what they need to do. It might be a misunderstanding. It might be not being aware of what's expected. It might be that they have some questions, some clarification questions about their role. It might be they're just not sure when and how and what. And these are things that they need to know, because if they don't know or they're unsure and they have a fear or an uncomfortableness to ask for clarification, this is a hidden factor that when they're not sure, they may have signed up to something and they're not quite sure of what's expected. And sometimes we may have been told, and this is the other thing that's important in these hidden factors, they may have been given all of the information, but it is about how we actively or unactively listen. And sometimes, even though when we've been told, we may not have heard. And that's the difference. And I started in management when I was 19, and I was a qualified manager at 19. And so I led by what I had learned. So being a professional and qualified manager, I had this view that if somebody wasn't performing or wasn't delivering what I wanted them to deliver, there was something that I didn't do or didn't say or didn't communicate effectively, that they didn't understand what was required of them. And so as a qualified manager at the very tender age of 19, I would question my own capability of my communication being understood. Because it's all very well communicating, but it is about whether that communication, your message, is understood, heard, and has relevance to the person in terms of their interaction and their action back. And if the actions don't come back that you expect of them, it could be that they've misunderstood and are afraid to ask, or afraid to ask for clarification or confirmation. Or it could be that they are not sure. And sometimes when people are unsure, they do nothing. Yes, that's right. They do nothing. Let me say that again. When they're unsure and they don't want to appear silly, they may just go silent. And that's a warning bell when somebody goes silent and you're chasing them, not quite sure. There's like a misunderstanding on both sides and a frustration that builds up between the team member and the leader of the team, or the team member and manager. So this is a hidden factor, a hidden aspect, that it's only hidden because it's not communicated. I call this the elephant in the room. It's like it's there. Everybody is uncomfortable or not happy, but nobody says anything. So the elephant in the room stays in the room. And it's also about the person that is unafraid to ask the questions. And the person that's unafraid to ask the questions can be sometimes seen as a bit of a maverick, or as a bit of a person that may be upsetting things, or seeing wrong things, or seeing a problem where there isn't deemed to be a problem. And I've always been that type of person that in my skill area, and it was only when I studied something called spiral dynamics that I understood what this skill was that I had. I could see, and always have done, what's missing. And people will share something with me, and immediately I will see the gap, what's missing, which made me an incredibly good manager, both practically in terms of looking after the environment, the team, and also that's what makes me an incredibly good mentor, coach, and educator, because I can see what's missing. I'm going to talk a little bit about that a bit later on within this show, that seeing what's missing can cause some disruption in the team. So looking at the hidden factors, moving on to when expectations clash, when the two different people, the team member and the manager or leader, the expectation clashes because neither one knows what the other one is expecting, or you kind of know what you think you're expecting. You have an expectation, but the other person is not understanding what your expectation is. Also, the reliability of the person's hidden strengths becomes a hidden strength. It might be that a person has a strength and the leader is unaware of it. This can cause some frustration for the person that has the hidden strength and yet isn't able or feels comfortable to demonstrate it because they're not quite sure about how it's going to be received. And sometimes that can actually create a result that can be frustrating for both the leader, manager, and the team member themselves. So what happens? The impact of unconscious competencies on team dynamics. Can unconscious skills sometimes create conflict within teams? Yes, of course they can. Certain behaviours might unconsciously clash with others. Working styles can clash. tension without anyone realizing what the cause is. And I've had many experiences of having this skill, whatever you want to call it, of seeing what's missing, what's wrong, and other people saying, why are you trying to fix something that is not broken? Have you ever heard that phrase? And this is what people that have done really well in the world have been able to achieve. People that are entrepreneurs and creators, inventors, are seeing a problem that needs resolving, where other people don't see it as a problem. And they've resolved something, and then they stratosphere to incredible heights because of what they have created, solving a problem that other people didn't see that there was. So let's look at how we can bridge the gap. Conscious awareness through feedback and reflection. Feedback sessions are really critical to bringing the unconscious behaviours into the light. When you ask, and I do say this lightly and maybe deeply, the uncomfortable questions, to ask the questions of where are we? Can I have an update, a progress report? When the person is met with silence, or, oh yeah, I'm getting on with that, I'll be back with you, or excuses for not having feedback, this is an alarm bell, a warning sign that the person probably hasn't done what you were expecting them to do, or even worse, they may not know how to start what you need them to do. That's even worse, because as time goes on, if that question, and it's always about the quality of the questions that you ask, if that question isn't asked of the person, they can almost get away with it until the 11th hour. And the person that has been assigned some tasks and they haven't done things and they've been quiet about what they've not done, it can lead to frustration because the other team members don't know what's happening. And more to the point, the person that is in charge of the activity is even more in a place of uncomfortableness, of conscious awareness that they are not meeting the expectations. They become consciously aware and uncomfortably consciously aware, and not knowing what to do, what to say, and how to get out of it. And more important than that is that if this silence becomes an integral part of their strategy, it may be that the leader or manager might not be aware that there is a problem until the push comes to shove, the deadline is there, and then they become aware. And it will be someone that has to ask or doesn't ask those questions. Where are we? What's happening? And ask for an update. So feedback sessions are critical to getting that feedback and understanding the unconscious behaviours, bringing those unconscious behaviours to light. The feedback allows the person to adjust their behaviours and adjust and meet the team expectations. So can you see this is really loaded? This is all about insights to people's expectations, insights to people saying they're going to do something and then realizing that they're not consciously able to do it because of a lack of skill or time or the hidden factors in terms of their personal lives. So how do we accomplish moving forward? How do we accomplish uncovering these hidden factors and this misalignment of expectation from the team versus the expectation and the being able to deliver from the team member? I invite you to look at structured reflection and feedback sections. And one of the things that I have a huge admiration for any manager that looks at doing this style as sandwich feedback. Sandwich feedback is 3 ways to feedback, and it's a sandwich. The first piece of feedback is positive feedback. Tell them genuinely, authentically, and honestly something they're doing well. Be genuine and authentic about it, because if you're not authentic, they will feel it. Be genuine in your positive feedback. You did that well because this. I really like the way that you opened this. I really like the way that you started your presentation. Be genuine and authentic, because inauthenticity is very easy to see and experience. When somebody's been inauthentic with you, you will feel it. Be authentic, be positive, be kind. That's the first piece of feedback in the sandwich. The second piece of feedback in the sandwich is the filling. And constructively say what didn't work well or what would be better to do. Give them something constructive rather than saying, that doesn't work, you didn't do that very well at all. Be constructive. It might be better if you did X, Y, Z. You will get more engagement. It would be, have you considered doing X, Y, and B, which may bring a more lighter tone to your presentation. Giving them something constructive rather than diminishing what they've done. Give them something that they can use, something that they can say, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's great, thank you. And then the final piece of the sandwich, so the last layer of the sandwich, is to give them and finish with something positive again. And again, genuinely, authentically, finish off with something positive that they did, something that you liked about what they did. This involves a little bit of time, a little bit of structure, and a little bit of compassion and understanding, because the person doesn't know what they don't know. And you don't know what you don't know until you become consciously aware of what you don't know. I know that sounds a little crazy, but you don't know what you don't know unless somebody brings it to your attention. And that's the point. It's about bringing it to your attention. And in a feedback sandwich, you can bring to somebody's attention something that they were completely unaware of. Also, I've been in environments and structured companies that do what's known as a 360-degree review or interview. And it's where the team member and the manager has a meeting where they constructively give feedback on each other. It does require a level of politeness, it does require a level of compassion, and it does require a level of considered kindness and authenticity. Because it's a two-way or three-way process. It's the two people as well as the situation. And I've been involved in a number of 360-degree interviews and feedback sessions where I not only found them incredibly helpful, and it helped me understand more about my manager, my director, and more about what their needs were for their bosses, as well as what my needs were as a team member. And it made me much more understanding of what the boundaries were and what the scope was. And through a 360-degree interview that I did with one of my directors when I was in corporate in marketing, I was able to come out with some projects that I wanted to champion that were very off the wall. And because it was brought up in the 360-degree meeting, that enabled me to be able to be commissioned to do those particular projects. That's not only stretched me, but also gave me some more feeling of being much more integral and part of the team. So 360-degree interviews are certainly a way that if you have time and you have commitment to building and growing your team, that will give you something that maybe you didn't think was possible. And it may bring out skills and experiences and expertise of team members that you were not only not aware of, but not even aware that they would want to do for you. So this is an opportunity, rather than thinking that it's a time where you're going to be grilled. This is an opportunity for both parties to come together and find the hidden pieces and find incredible, interesting and motivational and inspirational ways forward. So let's look at the hidden challenges of diverse teams and experiencing and embracing their differences. Diverse teams will have their own unique challenges, especially if people are coming from all different walks of life, from different cultures, different countries, different ethnicities, and they'll all have their own unconscious behaviours, because this is what today's show is about, unconscious behaviours, and bringing the unconscious behaviours into conscious awareness. So their background can bring unconscious behaviours, and also in fostering mutual respect and learning, bringing those into the foreground can bring respect not only for you as the manager and the leader, but also for the team as well. So strategies for leaders bringing hidden skills to the surface. Individual reflection. I find that individual reflection is key to understanding self and in exploring what went well, what didn't go well, what you could do better. I would say that I'm generally, and I'm probably not unusual to this, we're usually our own worst critic, but that internal reflection is something that strives, and it can be a motivator for some people to do better, to seek better, and to perform in ways that they may not have performed previously. It's good to introduce team building activities, which can bring out and recognise the unconscious competencies, as well as the conscious competencies that the manager or leader can see that are hidden to the team member. And it also brings a level of self-awareness and openness to the conversations. Expectations and reality within teams. The final reflection that I want to give is, and a call to action, is to think about your current and past teams. Think about the unconscious reality of what was happening in those teams, and where your conscious skills in your teams came forward in terms of identifying the struggles that the team member had or you had. And how might acknowledging these hidden dynamics might improve your future team's interactions. So let's look a little bit more deeply about unconscious versus conscious competencies. Unconscious competence performs skill, which is automatic. It's done without thinking. It's a muscle memory. It's executed smoothly. It's done efficiently, highly efficiently. The person is less aware of how they're performing, and it makes it hard to work or teach others. But when the person is less aware, but they perform at a high level of competency, they could become, and generally do become, the go-to person, because they shine. They shine because they have this level of competence that other people within the team or the manager or the leaders aspire to and recognise. But then when a spanner goes in the works and something changes, this is when a challenge can occur for the person that's unconsciously competent. They're less adaptive and they're less conscious of the adjustments that need to be made. So conscious competencies, when you're fully aware of your skills, and you understand each of the steps that you need to take, and you're fully aware of your adaptability, and you articulate the ability that you have. This assists collaborations. Let me say that again. This assists dynamic collaborations. It executes self-discipline, and it also allows the team member to stop, to have some firm boundaries in terms of overcommitting themselves. And it stops the misjudging of limitations, the pitfalls of saying yes. The consciously competent person will always feel a responsibility to the team needs. They're dependable. They are seen as the highly dependable team player. They will agree to take on tasks, and when things are feeling under pressure, and socially or professionally, they will feel an obligation to say yes. Let me say that again. They will feel an obligation to say yes. So why is saying yes a problem to tasks they're not fully prepared to handle? Well, if they're saying yes to things that they're not prepared to handle or fully equipped to handle, or more importantly, skilled to handle, it creates missed deadlines, lower quality. It creates an awareness, an acute awareness of their skills. Or they might overestimate their skills or misjudge the task's requirements. It may fail to deliver timely, and it may be producing work that doesn't meet the team standards. It decreases team trust. And if the pattern continues where the person is saying yes, 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 even if they're not able to do what's required or the expectation of what's required, because to do what's required might be different from their personal expectation and the manager or leader's personal expectation of what's required. It can lead to an erosion of trust within the team. It can erode the colleagues to question their reliability. And it can also affect the team morale and cohesion of that team, and bring into the team a sense and a level of stress that isn't actually needed or required. If the work falls short, it does lead then to the work being reassigned or indeed corrected, which is even worse. And it creates extra team stress, not only on the team members, but also the team manager or leader, and the workload of the rest of the team. So the importance of self-awareness and boundaries, yes, boundaries. Self-assessment is critical. To be consciously aware of what you can and can't do, and to regularly assess yourself is critical to being a great and a top team member. To regularly evaluate your own capabilities before taking on new responsibilities. Can I realistically deliver this to the standard that's expected, that's required within the given time frame? Learning to say no. 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 How does that feel? As a British person, born in England and very, very British, but trained by a lot of Americans, it's very hard, certainly for many British people, to say no. We politely skirt around the edges before we say no. We see everything. We come up with all the excuses before we attentively and actively say no. And it's because it's an uncomfortable feeling of there's just no way. And it's usually done right at the last minute, or when it's uncomfortable to say yes anymore. And this is part of a conscious competence, recognizing and declining a task, suggesting alternatives, proposing another team member, or suggesting a different approach that aligns with the team. Seeking support in cases where there is a person that's unsure of their capability to perform. Seek guidance and clarification. It's okay to ask questions. I've always been a questioner. In my entire life, I've always been the person that will put up my hand saying, I don't understand, or could you explain more about that? And I have been one of life's questioners. And being a questioner throughout my entire life, I've not been afraid to ask the questions. I have realised that I have asked the questions of others in the room that were afraid to put up their hand or raise the question. And I feel that sometimes is my role, it's my job to ask those questions that other people may be afraid to ask. And sometimes I ask questions that I already know the answer to, but feel in the room that other people don't know. So I ask the questions that other people are afraid to ask so that other people get the answers. It allows a redress of challenges early and to allow people to face further setbacks so that it stops the setbacks happening, so that the team remains happy and also the task and the deadline is met consciously and with bells on, I like to put it, met with dynamic outcomes. It helps the team cultivate a culture of honesty around competencies. Honesty is something that I feel very, very comfortable in talking about. I'm very much an honest person and like to be authentic. And if there's something that I can't do, I'm never afraid of saying, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now, or I'm sorry, that doesn't fit with where I am. But when I feel that I'm depended upon or required, that's the time that I go silent and I take a step back because I don't want to let anyone down. So rather than let anyone down, I will say yes. And then there comes a frustration, not only for me, but for the other people involved. So encouraging an open dialogue, leaders can foster an environment that's comfortable to admit when a team member needs help. And also it allows the person that lacks certain skills to be able to comfortably say authentically that that's not their skill area without feeling that they may be judged or, more importantly, feel that they're letting the team or the manager or leader down. Promoting team training and development. Frequently, when people say yes to tasks that they can't complete, it indicates a gap, a training requirement. And if there's a training requirement and the leader or manager notices it and is observant of it, this is the way a team manager or leader can grow their team's competencies so they become competent in the skills rather than unconsciously incompetent. When consciously aware individuals can learn and balance their confidence in their abilities, an honest assessment of their limits, and strengthen not only their own contributions, but also the team overall effectiveness. Saying yes genuinely can deliver and build trust and dependability within the team standards. Learning to say no is incredibly powerful. That skill of saying no, that very simple and small, tiny weeny word, no, this allows the individual to preserve their integrity. And it preserves the integrity and authenticity of the entire team and the entire team's dynamics in terms of the outcomes and the performance. It also balances responsibility and teamwork. Saying no and maintaining a supportive structure about saying no. I want to finish with how you can positively frame and express values for team goals. Here's some examples. I really appreciate the opportunity to contribute to the project. Right now, to ensure I'm giving my best to ensure that the team and the task is dealt with responsibly. I'm currently responsible for many other tasks, and I don't feel I can fully commit to this new task. Why this works. This approach shows respect. It shows the team that they are aware of the team's objectives and making it clear that you're committed to quality rather than quantity. Here's another example phrase. I may not be the best fit for this right now, but I'd be happy to support by suggesting another colleague, offering resources, or providing initial guidance. Why this works. Offering alternatives still contributes value to the team. Use the prioritization approach to clarifying. Given my current priorities with specific tasks, asking and tasking a specific individual on this additional responsibility might impact the quality of the work. Would it be possible to revisit after I've completed my current assignments and tasks? Why this works. Your focus is on quality and managing your time well, and it's essential for the team's success. It creates an open dialogue about priorities and the team dynamics. Well, this is all I have time for, and I have so much more to share with you, and I feel that this will be a part 2. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your interest in today's topic. Please subscribe to USA Global TV and Radio, where you can find all of my Talking Heads episodes under the talking list Caroline Heward. And if you are hearing bangs, my apologies. There is bonfire night here and there is much celebration. So please subscribe to USA Global TV and Radio, where you will find all of my Talking Heads episodes under my name, Caroline Heward, under the different years. You can contact me on nomorestress@live.co.uk or reach out if you're international, +44 if you are local, 07523 120 189. You can follow me on my social media platforms. My preferred platforms are LinkedIn and Facebook. Please reach out and message me there, or drop a comment under one of the shows, and we can have an open dialogue by private message and indeed connect. It has been my pleasure to deliver this session for you, exploring unconscious and conscious competencies. I look forward to seeing you next week at the same time. That's 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, because we've moved our clocks back now. So that's 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Namaste.
USA Global TV and Radio, in partnership with Dr. Jacqueline LLC, present Amazon #1 best-selling author, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is a certified life, career, and executive coach who teaches people how to listen at an elevated level through her courses and her books. Dr. Kerbeck teaches her clients how to open their hearts and express themselves through their creative genius. In her children's book series, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor, Dr. Kerbeck teaches children and their families how to listen at an elevated level. Dr. Kerbeck has worked with clients across the world to guide them in how to express themselves and communicate at a highly effective level. Join our team of elevated listeners so you can listen without judgment, without providing a solution, without interruption, and without stealing the stage. To order your books today, go to drjacqueline.com or Amazon.